Good morning, everybody. Welcome to my This or That Thursday. My name is Karen Kong, and I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Ottawa, Canada. And every week I try to post 2 cards in my group, and I ask my crafting community to vote on a card for me to make live on Thursday mornings. So just let me get my computer set up so I can see all your comments while I'm crafting. If you're joining in live, I would love it if you say hi, keep me company. Chat with me, ask me questions. It's way more fun when there's people to talk to. So just let me get set up. Good morning, Sandra. Just getting it on my screen. Okay, I'm set up. All right, so let me switch my my phone around. Just close your eyes while I take my cell phone and put it in the mount, okay? Just a second. Close your eyes. Okay. All right. I'm just going to zoom in a little bit and straighten things out. I think that looks pretty good. Okay. So yeah, if you're watching live, I'd love it if you say hi and tell me where you're watching from, and tell me what the weather's like. We've got a little bit of snow falling here again today in Ottawa. Not too cold though, so not complaining. Okay, so we're making this card today, and I pulled out my Pretty Medallion stamp because I was inspired by a card made by somebody named Michelle Lupton. I'm not sure if she's, I don't think she's a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, but I saw a card that was similar to this, and I used what I had to make something similar. So it was actually quite easy. It wasn't too hard. Okay, so I used the Pretty Medallion, and for the little sentiment underneath here, I used a sentiment from the Peaceful Moment stamp set, and of course I used the Amazing Thanks dies to cut out the thanks, and that was pretty much it. So let's get started. I'm going to cut the card base first. I already have a piece of a mat for this. Okay, so my card base is a standard card base, 8.5 by 11 chopped in half. It'll be 8.5 by 5.5, and then I fold it over. This is what is this, like an eighth of an inch around, so like 1/4 of an inch chopped off each side. So if you're watching for the first time, don't worry about writing all these measurements down. I will put them in the description, the video description afterwards, and so you can make it yourself if you want. Okay, so let's get out my paper trimmer first. I'll move these aside so I have room. Oh, and I have my mini cut and emboss machine today. I got that just before I caught COVID, and I finally have it to try. I haven't used it too much. I did make sure that it works properly, so we're going to use it today. Okay, so I'm going to take my 8.5 by 11, and I'm going to chop it in half to make a standard card base. Okay, so on my paper trimmer, the measurements are up here. I'm just going to measure it out right on the paper trimmer. So that's 5.5 inches. Okay. And I'm going to turn it, and I'm going to score it at 4 1/4, which is halfway. So if you haven't used a Stampin' Up! Paper trimmer before, it has 2 blades. One is for cutting, one is for scoring, so you get nice crisp folds. Okay, so my matting piece, which I'm going to do all my stamping and embossing on and everything, it's just a 1/4 of an inch smaller, so it's a 5 1/4 by 4 inch piece. I already have one, so I don't need to cut that. I think the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out all the dies cuts for this. So this is the background, which is white, and then on top is the actual word in Starry Sky, I believe. And I did 3 of them so that when I glue them together and stack it up, it gives you this height and it gives it more weight, and I think it looks much nicer with more weight on it. Okay, so let's die cut that first. So I'm gonna get these out of the way. And I'm gonna bring in my mini cut and emboss machine. So cute. Look how much, so little space it needs on my desktop. Okay, so I need my plates. Where did I put those? Here we go. Okay, so with a mini cut and emboss machine, the plates are very slightly different, but as always, they always give you the instructions right on the base plates and stuff. So it tells me for die cutting, I need plates 1 and the 2 number 2s. So with a big cut and emboss machine, there's an extra plate that lies in here, but we don't need that. There is none for the mini. Okay, so let's get out my amazing thanks. So I have 2 dies there, and I pre-cut some of the pieces of paper that I'm going to die cut from, so that I don't have to fiddle around with that this morning. Okay, so that's the white. Okay, so I'm going to cut the background in white. Okay, and I think I have room to put one of these on too. Just enough room to put one of these. I'm going to have to cut those 3 times. Okay, so with the mini cut and emboss machine, they say to make an E with the plates to stagger them. Oops. Okay, and it should catch properly and then run it through. Okay. Oh, looking good. It didn't shoot it out and it ran all the way through. All good signs. The defective one I had would just shoot the plates out at the end. A little bit dangerous when you're sitting on the other side. Okay, so let me just get my stylus so I can poke out the holes. Okay, so that one's perfect. And just going to take that one out. Okay. And here we go. Look how nice that looks. Oh, and there we go. Perfect. Okay, so I need 2 more of those. So if you've been watching the Stampin' Up! News, there's a new collection of online exclusives out, only available online. Went live yesterday, and I was excited to see what else they were going to post up there, because they didn't, even as a demonstrator, we didn't know everything that was going to go live on March 1st. So I can see there's like little dots of cutouts, and if those get stuck underneath, it will make an impression on my die cut, and I don't want that. I'm just going to get rid of them first. Yes, no projectile action. I'm just reading Sandra's comment now. So back to the online exclusives. Yeah, so I didn't know what exactly was going to be out there. I was personally hoping for dies for the Taco Fiesta set, but no such luck. But they did have something at the very back of the section, because I had reordered to see what was newest, because I realized that they were including all this other stuff that was also online only, which is like their mugs and some of their clothing. And so I reordered by newest only, and I didn't notice at first that there was actually circle punches added to the lineup. And I think that because it was not exactly new, because they had them before, it wasn't considered new, so they were at the very end, but somebody else pointed it out in one of my demonstrator groups, and so I went back and looked, and I was like, sure enough, there's these circle punches there now. So if you don't have a die cutting machine, or even if you do have a die cutting machine, you can still make use of the 2" and 1 3/4 circle punches to add layers to your projects. So you don't have to pull out your machine if you don't want to. Okay, so I've got 2 thanks cut out, and I need 1 more. Okay. Oh, I need to stagger it a little bit more. There we go. Whoops, it's moving a bit. All right, here we go. There, perfect. Yay, my new mini cut emboss works great. And I love the color. I don't know if they're going to continue selling this color or not. I'm not sure. I don't think you can order it from the regular Stampin' Up! Website. I think it was only when you could only get it by joining, or as a demonstrator you could buy it. All right, so now I've got 3 of those. I think I can put that away now. Yeah, the punches are, you know, quick to use in that, right, you don't have to bring out your machine, you don't have to find your dies, but yeah, so, you know, different convenience factors. Okay, so let me just put all my little die cuts into the recycling. Okay, and we'll get this out of the way. I think I'm done using that. So let's bring my card back. So what I'm going to do first is actually I'm going to put all the die cuts together so I don't lose them. So I'm going to stack everything on top of the background white piece. Okay, so let's take the first one. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to put little dots of glue. Sandra's saying that those 2" and 1 3/4" circles are a nice size because you can fit many sentiments on them. Yeah, they're bigger, so you can put a little bit more on them, like you can actually decorate them and stuff and put them on as a layer on your card. Oops. So I'm trying not to put too much glue. This is a new tube, so I don't have to press too hard. And then this can dry while we're stamping. The thing is that my own preference is to use the die cuts, so the dies instead to get die cuts, because then I can place them just about anywhere on my piece of paper. That's my own personal preference. And I find that the dies cut much cleaner. I don't know about some of you, but I find sometimes my punch, there's maybe one edge that doesn't cut as cleanly. So dies are, I just find dies are much cleaner in their cuts. Okay, I'm just going to try and center this. Because this is a word, it tends to kind of easily stretch out a little bit. All right, looks good. All right, so I'm going to put on the 2nd and 3rd layers. I could probably add 1 more if I really wanted to make it stand out, but I think 3 is good. So there's just so many new products, and I still have stuff I need to use. I have masks that I have not used yet from last year that I kind of want to try. and I think that's the only thing I really haven't tried. I think I've tried, oh, there's one embossing folder. There's a happy birthday embossing folder that I have not used yet. I think I'm gonna have to show that one some love sometime soon. But then I'm also gonna be getting excited about the new annual. So as a demonstrator, we get to see the new annual at the end of March in digital form, and I'm going to be so excited to see what they've come up with for the next annual catalog. All right, one more. Does anybody else have the pretty medallion stamp? I want to use it more. It's like a great background. And I like this card. I might try it with like maybe some different color combinations and see how those work out as well, because I think I could do like maybe some sort of a pink with a pale papaya. I think that combination would look nice too. I'm almost there. Okay, I think I can just put that down now. Great, I think that looks good. All right. Okay, so now I can set that aside and I'm gonna let that dry while we do our stamping. Okay, so this stamping technique is called Emboss Resist. So what happens is you emboss this stamp image with white, or whatever color, I guess. It doesn't really matter which color, but the idea is that you heat emboss it, and then you use the water-based inks to blend on top of it, and the embossing will not take on the color. Although I do find that this is a teeny bit purple, but for the most part, you know, up here you can see it stays pretty much white, and it just pops right off the paper. So I'm gonna stamp it first. Let's do that. Oh, I'll leave this to the side. So I like using the Stamparatus for this one. When do I not like using the Stamparatus? Let's be honest. I love the Stamparatus for this because there's just so much detail in this that it's hard to make sure when you're stamping that you've got every single line pressed down, and you'll notice, I noticed after the fact that here I missed like a little bit here, right? It's not a big deal, but if I'd noticed it earlier and it was like a colored ink, I could just, you know, put the panel back down and re-ink it or press it down and make sure those details come out. So that's what the advantage is in using this Stamparatus to do my stamping. Okay, so today, because this is embossed, I'm going to use Versamark, so I'm not going to be able to see as well whether or not I got everything. So I'm just going to have to press firmly everywhere and make sure I get everything. Okay, so I need my matting piece. So I know that my stamp, if you look at the stamped image on the back here, it's very slightly over, if you can see that. It's not exactly centered. It's pretty centered, but not quite. So let me just double check where I should lay my paper, because this paper is smaller than my actual stamp. I have to actually secure it with washi tape because I can't use the magnets, because the magnets will get in the way of my stamp. So I'm just trying to remember, how did I set this up? Oh, I know why it doesn't look centered. Okay, that's fine. I'll put it here. Usually I try to line it up with one of the darker grid lines, but I think I had it flipped over on the other side, which had centimeters instead of inches, so that's okay. But, all right, so I'm just trying to figure out where I need to line it up, and it's approximately here. If I wanted it to be exactly center, I think. But I know that this is very slightly moved over a little bit. So I'm going to move my piece of paper over just a little bit too. And I actually went and marked the very, very top of my stamp with a little tick mark, so I know where the center is. So right here, let me just put my washi tape down so I don't move this. I just need a tiny bit. Okay. So I marked the top. I don't know if you can see this, but I put like a little tick mark at the very, very, I don't know if you can see that. There's a little tick mark. Nope, you can't see that. Okay. Anyways, I marked the middle of the actual stamped image. Oh, you can see there. And so that I can figure out where the middle is. So I can tell that my middle is here. So I'm just going to double check that the middle of my card mat is over here. So I think I need to, because I want my image to be centered on my piece of paper. So this is 4, right? So I need my 2-inch mark, which is right here. I need it to move over actually. So I'm just going to take my washi tape and move it. Okay, so, okay, I've forgotten again where it is. Let me just check. Okay, so it's just to the right of here. So I need my 2-inch mark on my paper. Yeah, that looks right. Okay, so right around there is where my halfway point is on my stamp. So now when I stamp it on my card mat, it will be centered. Okay, so now that that's out of the way and I've centered it, I'm going to ink this up with the Versamark ink pad, which is the ink pad that you need to use if you're going to do heat embossing. And I'm wondering if I need to get a new one of this because I'm not sure how juicy it is anymore. It seems to be still doing the job, but it doesn't feel juicy, if you know what I mean. And so I'm just doing it a couple of times because there's so much detail on this stamp. I don't want to miss anything. And it's hard to tell, because it is clear, whether or not everything transferred to the paper. Okay, so let's go with that. So I'm going to press everywhere. This time I'm going to make sure. I'm trying not to press super hard because then you get like the rubber kind of spreading and making it kind of fuzzy looking instead of sharp. But I do want to make sure that all these details come out this time. Okay, before I take it up, I'm just going to put my paper down underneath it because I'm going to do my, right, I'm going to pour the powder on there. Just slide that out. All right, I hope I don't touch anything. Okay, and I'm just going to pour the white embossing powder, okay, over the entire thing. Okay, so let's just give it a shake. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to use the embossing buddy. I totally forgot about that. So the embossing buddy is this little, looks like a little mini pillow, and it takes away the static off the paper so you don't get excess powder sticking to places that it shouldn't. Hopefully that won't be a problem here. But it is really handy, and it's like really great for when you're embossing on black. So if I don't remember, I'm going to take it out now so I don't forget for the next one. Okay. I can't really see any excess white powder anywhere, but I'm just going to brush just to be sure, because it'll show up once we start adding color, right? Just going to take it out of the empty white space here. I think it looks okay. I think I'm just being cautious. All right. So let me just put this down and we'll get the powder back into the jar. This is just scrap paper I'm using. Okay. Let's cover that up. I'm going to get my heat gun. So this is a heat gun that I've had for like 20 years. I had it pre-Stampin' Up, pre-kids, and it is still running, knock on wood, still running perfectly. So, oh, Sandra said she thinks I can get a refill instead of a new Versamark pad. I'll have to take a look for that for my next order. Okay. So I'm just going to start the gun, and hopefully it won't be too noisy for you guys, okay? Oh, I'm going to hold the card with this so I don't burn my fingers. Okay. I'm going to let it warm up before I start heating the paper, because I find that if I let the heat gun sit on the paper too long, it will curl. So I'm going to let it warm up first, okay? I got everything. The first time I did it, I had to check a few times to make sure that everything had melted properly. I think I have some like little dark things in there. I hope it's like, it's probably some something else that got mixed in with my white by accident. Anyways, I'm just going to put it over in a different angle in the light next to me so I can see if everything melted. I think it did. Yeah, I think I'm good. All right, so let's put this heat gun away. Oh, awesome. There is a clear stamp ink pad refill. All right. Thanks, Sandra. Okay, so now that this is embossed in white, I have a scrap piece of paper that I'm going to do my blending on. As you can see, this is the one I did my original blending on. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the Starry Sky, and then I'll work my way about halfway up, and kind of go from a darker to a lighter, and then I'll go to a lighter like blending, and then I'll start with the Balmy Blue. So let's ink up my brush. Okay, so I'm going to tap a little bit of the excess off, and I'm going to start off the paper so I don't get a big dark blot. Look, you can see the white just kind of starts showing up magically, eh? So I want the darker, like the bottom section to be darker, so I'm going to concentrate on this section more so I get a deeper color down here. Oh, the refill's unavailable. It's just like the Memento Black. That one's also out of stock too, and that's also coming in back in that same week, I think. So. Okay, I'm almost at the halfway point out there. I think I want to add a little bit more dark Starry Sky on the bottom. Okay. I think I'm going to start adding the Balmy Blue next. Okay, so I want to leave a little bit of white right at the top, so I don't want to start from that side, so I'm going to start from the side over here. I wasn't sure these two colors would work together, but I think they do. So I'm trying not to go right to the top there. I want to leave a little bit of white at the top. This was overall a fairly easy card to do. I may make like a bunch of these. And it's just pretty effective, like very stunning look without too much effort. Sandra's asking if I got any of the mini brushes. I didn't yet. I didn't think I needed them, but then I was thinking about some other project, and I was thinking, oh, it'd be handy to have something, a brush that was smaller, because I didn't need to have a big blending brush for that. So I might get them. I know Tara's already got a bunch. Okay, somehow I ended up with some Starry Sky up the side there. I don't know how that happened, but I think it's still fine. So just going to go up a little bit further. And then what I did last time was I actually went back with some Starry Sky and just did a little bit more blending across the middle part. Sandra, did you get any of the minis? I don't know if you bought any of the mini blending brushes yourself. Okay, so I'm just going to add a little bit more here. I think I'll add a little bit more Balmy Blue up there. It's almost too white. I think I want it to be a tiny bit bluer, but I won't add ink. I think I'll just use the brush as is, just to take away the bright, bright white. Okay. I think that's pretty good. All right. I think we're done with the blending. Okay. Let's assemble the card so far. And then I've still got to stamp the one more sentiment to put underneath. So let's fold our card base. Oh yes, Sandra says she hasn't got the minis yet, but she's thinking they'll be handy for the masks with small detail. And you are absolutely right. I had not thought of that. But yeah, that would definitely be handy because, like I said, I haven't tried the masks that I bought last year. And they definitely have some smaller detail that if I don't want everything to be the same color, I'm going to need smaller blending brushes to do that. Yes, we both have to try our decorative masks. I have not done that yet. All right, so let's put a bit of glue on the back of this and we'll glue it down. Oh, I have a little. Okay. I really like the ombre effect that you get from the blending brushes. Okay. Oh, I got some on my fingers. Okay. I'm trying to lay this flat because the paper did curl a little bit after embossing. But hopefully the glue will help it lay flat. All right. So now I have my thanks ready, but I need to take care of my embossing of my sentiment here. Okay, so maybe what I'll do is I'll go ahead and I'll just put this down. It's right across the center pretty much, so usually I like to lay things out so I know approximately where it's going to go, but I'm just going to follow my original example and we'll use that as my guide. And I'm just going to use dots of glue as usual because I find when I'm just kind of, like I see lots of other people where they're just able to do this and put it all over the place, and I just find I lose control and then I go too close to the edge and then I have glue sticking out. So I just like to use dots of glue. I find it's I have a bit more control that way, and I don't end up with glue oozing out as much, depending on how much comes out, I guess. If I end up with a big blob, then, well, then I'm gonna be out of luck. See, like there, I just kind of spread it out a little bit. There we go. Thanks, Sue. I wasn't sure that the two would work together initially, but after I blended them, they looked fine. But I look for ideas, you know, by Googling, you know, Stampin' Up! Color combinations or inspiration, and that helps. That helps with the color choice. Okay, just let me lay this down. That looks centered. Okay, we're nearly there. All right, so now I'm just going to get some black cardstock, and I'm going to take this panel off, because the good thing is when you have a Stamparatus, you have two of these panels, and so I can switch it out easily. Let me just double check if my sentiment stamp is a cling stamp or is I think it's a cling stamp as well, so I won't need the extra. Yeah, I won't need the extra foam pad. Okay, so all right, so let's not forget to use the embossing buddy this time, because on black, little stray flecks of white show up way more. Okay. All right, so let me put this down. Okay, so I can see by checking my lines back here, it looks almost straight. I'm just going to adjust it very, very slightly upward on the left side. I don't know if that made too much of a difference. It looks straight though. Okay, so let's get my embossing buddy out. And we'll just rub it on lightly. Take away the static. Okay, and where's my Versamark? Oh, here it is. Okay. I'm just going to press firmly to make sure all the letters come out properly. All right. Let's put this aside. And I need to get my white embossing powder out again. White on black always just looks like magic to me. It looks so nice. See all the white flecks, pretty much all gone because we used the embossing buddy. See, I think I'm like, I might have to re-ink this pad because I can see like little bits of my letters are not, they didn't all quite make it. But that's okay. I think it's fine. Okay, let's put away the powder and we will get the heat gun back out. I don't think I need my tweezers for this, but let's see. Okay, we're ready for the magic. There we go. Okay, now I'm going to trim it down to the size that I want. Get my paper trimmer out. And I know this paper is like, one side is not quite straight. It's, I don't know, and I always discover it after I've done my chopping. I don't know what's up with that, and then I forget to fix it. I'm going to take a little bit off the top, I think. Yeah, just a smidgen. I want it to be closer to the edge. Okay, and then I'll crop it right there. Ooh, that's really close. Closer than I anticipated. That's okay. Still looks good. Okay. I'm going to trim down this side too. I think that looks about even. All right. Okay, and you know me, I like to flatten the edges because I can see that they're just a little bit raised. So I just take my bone folder, and I just quickly run it along the edge there to make sure they're flat. All right, good. So now we're in the final stages. I'm just going to glue this on. I could put them up on dimensionals, but you know what? I like having the this die cut, the Thanks die cut, stand out, and I'm just going to leave this flat. So I'm just going to glue it straight on. And just kind of eyeballing where it is going to be centered. I think that's good. So straight. All right. So now all I did was I added some pearl basic jewels. Okay. Take your pick tool. So I'm going to put a big one right here. Oops, a bit off the screen there. And one over here. Whoops, I didn't get it. And then I think I used a medium-sized one for down here. I love these pearl basic jewels. Like, you can color them. I don't know if you've seen other people do it, but you can color them with the blends markers, and so that they can match your card exactly. But I like leaving these white. These are perfect as they are, just in white for this card at least. And there is the card. I think it's like, you know, a pretty easy card to do, you know, and very stunning. Like, I think it looks stunning. I love it. So thanks for joining in, everybody. If you're watching the replay, say hi, tell me where you're watching from. Thanks for joining me and chatting with me. Hope we can connect again next week. Have a great week, have a great day, and happy crafting. Bye, everybody.